Once you replace negative thoughts with positive ones, you'll start having positive results. When I started counting my blessings, my whole life turned around. I think most art comes out of poverty and hard times. I got along without you before I met you, and I'll get along without you a long time after you're gone. I started out really young, when I was 4, 5, 6, writing poems, before I could play an instrument. I was writing about things when I was 8 or 10 years old that I hadn't lived long enough to experience. That's why I also believe in reincarnation, that we were put here with ideas to pass around. Freedom is control in your own life. I have more control now than in the past, and I'm learning the value of saying no. That's very important. I grew up across the street from, the Valerias, which was a great Mexican family there. In fact, there was 3 houses right across the street from me. So, day and night, I listened to Mexican music, and I'm sure, my guitar playing, singing, writing, whatever, has a lot of Mexican flavor there, but it comes natural. You know why divorces are so expensive? They're worth it. Since I was a kid, music was what I wanted to do. I thought I could make it by my own talents. That's what I wanted to prove. I think people need to be educated to the fact that marijuana is not a drug. Marijuana is an herb and a flower. God put it here. If He put it here and He wants it to grow, what gives the government the right to say that God is wrong? I believe that all roads lead to the same place, and that is wherever all roads lead to. My doctor tells me I should start slowing it down, but there are more old drunks than there are old doctors, so let's all have another round. Anybody can be unhappy. We can all be hurt. You don't have to be poor to need something or somebody. Rednecks, hippies, misfits, we're all the same. Gay or straight. So what? It doesn't matter to me. We have to be concerned about other people, regardless. Cruelty is all out of ignorance. If you knew what was in store for you, you wouldn't hurt anybody, because whatever you do comes back much more forceful than you send it out. It doesn't hurt to feel sad from time to time. We create our own unhappiness. The purpose of suffering is to help us understand we are the ones who cause it. Don't try to change anybody. And they should let you be yourself. You loved me when you met me, so let's keep going. I used to work in the cotton fields a lot when I was young. There were a lot of African Americans working out there. A lot of Mexicans, the blacks and the whites and the Mexicans, all out there singing, and it was like an opera in the cotton fields. And I can still hear it in the music that I write and play today. I'm from Texas, and one of the reasons I like Texas is because there's no one in control. I've been a long time leaving, but I'm going to be a long time gone. You want to be a good parent and you want to be a friend, and it's hard to be both. You have to balance it as well as you can. I text and email my friends and family a lot, but that's about the extent of my high-tech-etude. We've already been reincarnated about 1,000,000 times, maybe. It doesn't make sense any other way. There's a great enthusiasm for good country music all over the world. As long as there's a few farmers out there, we'll keep fighting for them. I am not a pig farmer. The pigs had a great time, but I didn't make any money. If you got the money, honey, I got the time, and when you run out of money, honey, I run out of time. A lot of country music is sad. I think most art comes out of poverty and hard times. It applies to music. 3 chords and the truth, that's what a country song is. There is a lot of heartache in the world. 3 chords and the truth, that's what a country song is. When you're singing, you're using extra muscles, and it requires a lot of exercise and breathing. You can't do that if you're a sissy. If I have any fitness advice for people, I'd tell them to sing more. It's good therapy, too. You could make any song sound creepy if you wanted. It's all about the inflection. I like to stick with music I know I can play. I love classical, but I don't think I could ever play it. I'm just not qualified. 99% of the world's lovers are not with their first choice. That's what makes the jukebox play. If you really want to get along with somebody, let them be themselves. Where I grew up, Bob Wills and his Western swing was very popular. And Western swing is not that far from jazz and blues. I didn't come here and I ain't leavin'. Waylon Jennings and I had a lot of fun recording together. I never gave up on country music because I knew what I was doing was not that bad. You don't have to be poor to need something or somebody. What has changed is that nothing has changed. That's what has made me more unhappy than everything else. I just enjoy both working and not working. Most of the stuff I've read about me has been true. All I do is play music and golf. Which one do you want me to give up? Sometimes there is a 36-piece orchestra going off in my stomach. When you hear me, you know it's me, regardless of the song. I guess if you can't sing, you better have a style. When I'm driving the highway by myself is when I write best. I'm not prejudiced in any way that I can think of. That's just not the guy I am. If a song was ever good, it's still good. I don't like to think too far ahead. The first time I got on stage was when I was about 5 years old. It was at a church social, and I had a poem to recite. When I was about 12, I had my first paying gig, $8 to play rhythm guitar in a polka band. Pretty soon, I ended up playing in all the bars within driving distance of Abbott, Texas. I just enjoy both working and not working. And fortunately, I work enough where I get that out of my system, and then we take a few days off, take a rest. I started out writing poems before I figured to put melodies to them and play the guitar. Somewhere, there's a book out there on all those early songs and poems. I hope no one ever finds it. I don't think it's my finest work. I was born in Abbott, Texas, a little small town in central Texas, and I was raised by my grandparents. And my parents divorced when I was 6 months old, and my grandparents raised me. I would like to see more airplay for all artists, no matter what age. I think there's a lot of money being spent toward the young guys, but a lot of the older guys are the ones who blaze the trail for those young guys. All my kids were raised on computers. They were homeschooled on the internet, so they're pretty good at that stuff. And I'm proud of them, but I don't really keep up with it. Writing books is fun because after I do a show for a couple hours, I'm in a bus for 22 hours. It's not hard for me to look out the window and tell a joke here and there. I think most people realize that our problems are our government, not me and you individually, except that we must have some sort of responsibility. Because they're in there and they were elected, so we have to defend ourselves on those lines. We're still here trying to get the word out that 330 farmers are quitting every week. I don't think any person has any special knowledge about what God has planned for me and you any more than me and you do. But if you think of all the people who don't like me, just think of all the millions who've never heard of me. The whole house came up and I came up with it. I was just praying to the Lord to take care of me. There are only so many notes, so there must be only so many melodies. I think I'm basically the same guy I always was. Maybe I've learned, through experience, to rein in some of the anger and temper they say redheads normally have. I think Ray Charles did as much as anybody when he did his country music album. Ray Charles broke down borders and showed the similarities between country music and R&B. Well, the country songs themselves are three-chord stories, ballads which are mostly sad. If you are already feeling sorry for yourself when you listen to them, they will take you to an even sadder place. Everything about Sinatra was good. He had the ability to pick great songs, and once Sinatra had sung them, that pretty much was it. He pretty much put his stamp on everything. When I see someone I think is cool, he's a pretty well-adjusted individual. He's not too affected one way or the other by what's happening, no matter what's going through his mind. And as far as guitars go, I love Jimmy Bryant and Speedy West stuff. I like myself better when I'm writing regularly. I was influenced a lot by those around me. There was a lot of singing that went on in the cotton fields. I wanted to connect all people who are thinking about peace on earth. When we did the first one, I really thought that one would be all that would be necessary. Everybody would say, "Oh yeah, the farmers are getting screwed here, let's fix that." What has changed is that nothing has changed. That's what has made me more unhappy than everything else. Mainly because I'd already been paid on it. And paid pretty good. My doctor tells me I should start slowing it down, but there are more old drunks than there are old doctors, so let's all have another round. I'd like to see this happen time and time again, thousands of times across the country. I have a lot of respect for the military. I like to show them that I support them every chance I get. We get as much out of it as the soldiers. I always thought Hank Williams was a great person to listen to. Because his messages were simple, to the point, usually just 3 chords, but they hit you right in the bone. He's got to be there. He belongs there as much as anybody else. He's done as much as any of us to progress country music and let it be heard around the world and give it the respect it deserves. We may have been poor, but my sister, Bobby, and I were taught to hold our heads up high. Whether you're young or old, when you meet someone, you look them in the eye and speak up so you can be heard. When you look a person in the eye, you're not trying to hide who you are, plus you get a pretty good idea of who they are. Kinky will get the politicians out of politics, but we need your help to get him on the ballot. Kinky has only a few weeks to collect over 45,000 signatures, and I'll be one of those signatures, and I hope you will, too. It can't get much worse, 100 yards an hour. It's frustrating bumper to bumper. I think it's true, we have to watch what we're doing. I think if we start out to make what we're trying to do work locally, using local farmers, local people, local control, not going outside and importing a lot of things, everything we need, grow it in the area and be self-sustaining, I think we can probably keep that from happening to a certain degree. I think it's time we start looking seriously at alternative energies so we don't have to go around the world looking for oil. I think this is a great thing that's happening. It's good for the country, it's good for Oklahoma, it's good for all of us. We just about threw away the whole store and restocked it. This song's been in the closet for 20 years. Completely in line with what I'm doing. Without getting too philosophical, I sort of look at life as being one scene after another anyway. That's true. The winds of change are always blowing in. Every time I try to stay, the winds of change continue blowing in. They just carry me away. The song's been in the closet for 20 years. The timing's right for it to come out. The whole house came up and I came up with it. I was just praying to the Lord to take care of me. This is a moment when each of us can take stock of what we can offer to everyone affected by this catastrophe. There's a lot of good things going on. For the last year, people have found out more and more about it, including myself. Once they get it, they like it. This is the start of tax season, with people receiving 1040s in mail. For helping me to grow, I owe a lot. I know, to all the girls I've loved before. It is the future. Through biodiesel, we can reduce dependency on foreign oil and adopt an energy source that's clean, renewable, and helps family farmers find new uses for their products. Eating organic, family-grown food is important to a lot of us, so that's why it's important to take care of the family farmers. They're the backbone of the country. It's important because we are going around the world starting wars because over oil, and we don't have to do that. We can grow our own fuel here at home, help our farmers, help our environment, help the truckers, help the local communities. Be Here to Love Me, a film about Townes Van Zandt. Hope remains when pride is gone, and it keeps you moving on. I didn't feel that I gave them a very good show. I figured 1 year later, my throat was back and I'd give it another shot. I dedicate this song to all the girls I've loved before. My granddaddy died when I was about 6 years old, I think. And my grandmother took a job cooking in the school lunchroom. So she did great. She made $18 a week. I think innately knew that music draws people together and that good music is liked by almost everybody. There are just certain sounds, music, that sort of people are going to like it. I don't smoke as many joints as I used to. I use vaporizers a lot. It cuts down on the heat and the smoke. And for a singer, that's not a bad idea. I still probably smoke as much as I ever did. Every now and then I'll think of something to put back in the show. I just kind of play it off the top of my head. If I do it that way, it keeps it kind of fresh. It was and is always nice to work with the kids. A frozen river is not a dry one, it's just a still river on the surface but is still moving, and so am my winter writing. Small family farmers are the only things that can save us because they take care of the land. Future farmers of America are going to be our heroes. Same with biodiesel, either way we need small family sustainable and organic farmers. More and more people are finding out the benefits of it, hemp and marijuana. The more they delve into it and research it, the more they realize, hey, wait a minute, we should give this another look. I had gotten up to 2, maybe 3, packs of cigarettes a day. And my lungs were bothering me and I'd had pneumonia 2 or 3 times. And I was also smoking pot, and I decided, well, one of them's got to go. And so I took a pack of Chesterfields and took all the Chesterfields out, rolled up 20 big fat ones and put it in there, and I haven't smoked a cigarette since then. Biodiesel seems to be the answer to a lot of our prayers. Not only can it help the U.S. economy, our unwanted dependence on foreign oil, and the gasping environment, it could also help the family farmers out of this tragic dilemma they have found themselves in through no fault of their own. I have more dumb luck than anybody I know. There must be a convey of guardian angels working 24 hours a day looking after me. Like the night I first got to Nashville that I laid down in the middle of Broadway, waiting to get run over. It didn't happen. I could swear they were keeping me alive just to see what I'd get next. I'm glad they feel that way. I'm trying to help them a little more these days. Songwriting, it's a gift. It all comes from somewhere. I started out really young, when I was 4, 5, 6, writing poems, before I could play an instrument. I was writing about things when I was 8 or 10 years old that I hadn't lived long enough to experience. Family farmers are small farmers who love the land. They're still not getting enough money for their product and are rapidly losing their battle to stay in business. By helping the American family farmer, we will in turn help ourselves out of the economic hole that we find ourselves in today. It doesn't really matter how we got here, the point is, we have to dig our way out. Gay or straight, so what? It doesn't matter to me. We have to be concerned about other people regardless. Let's get the government stay out of our private lives, once and for all, and stop arresting smokers. Let's take a stand for personal freedom. There are more serious problems in life than financial ones, and I've had a lot of those. I've been broke before, and will be again. If you start out looking at somebody, wondering whether he's good or bad, I think you're starting out in the wrong direction. I think we're all good and we're all bad. I started writing cheating songs when I was too young to have any idea what I was writing about, broken hearts and things like that. I just think it was something I already knew, something I had experienced in another lifetime. Songwriters might write cynical, world-wise lyrics and constantly talk about money, but most of us are downright naive when it comes to business. I like myself better when I'm writing regularly. I was influenced a lot by those around me. There was a lot of singing that went on in the cotton fields. I'm a country songwriter and we write Cry in Your Beer songs. That's what we do. Something that you can slow dance to. I never gave up on country music because I knew what I was doing was not that bad. Most of the stuff I've read about me has been true. I see this, biodiesel, as a way for the farmer to grow fuel and food and put him back in business again. You can't hang a man for shooting a woman who was trying to steal his horse. I smoke pot every day, and I love it. You can't make a record if you ain't got nothing to say. Those people out there like good music. They don't stop and ask themselves, is it country or rock and roll? If they like it, they will tell you. I live one day at a time, one day at a time. Yesterday's gone and tomorrow is blind, so I live one day at a time. Just can't wait to get on the road again. If you go to a magic show, you don't want to see logic. One thing I learned is that the mind, rather than being the master, should be the servant of the heart. A lot of country music is sad. What goes around, comes around. Be careful what you dream, soon your dreams will be dreaming you. Marijuana is like sex, if I don't do it every day I get a headache. I like to play small clubs. I never pretended to have a great voice. It works and I can carry a tune. If you have a good song, that's about all that's required. The life I love is making music with my friends. Marijuana is like sex. If I don't do it every day, I get a headache. I think marijuana should be recognized for what it is, as a medicine, an herb that grows in the ground. If you need it, use it. A lot of guns. There's no need for civilians to own those are for military. I've known straight and gay people all my life. I can't tell the difference. But I'd never marry a guy I didn't like. In the twilight glow I see her, blue eyes, crying in the rain. As we kissed goodbye and parted, I knew we'd never meet again. Inside every cowboy there's a lady who'd love to slip out. Just take what you need from the ladies and leave them. I'm drowning in Whiskey River. Americans don't eat horses. They are not raised as food animals and they are treated with chemicals that render them unsafe for consumption. The regulations needed to change their status to food animals would cripple every aspect of the horse industry as we know it. Plus, it would be wrong. Sadly, There are more wild horses in holding pens than in the wild. I'm a little prejudiced when it comes to horses. I have always loved them. Horses were a way to travel to get to where we are today, and it is our job to protect them. When I was out in the bars drinking and fighting, I was a little bit less of a peacemaker than I would be if I'd had a couple of hits of a joint and gone and laid down somewhere. My first job was in a Bohemian polka band, the Reject Family Polka Band in Abbott. The old man in the band had another blacksmith shop in Abbott, but he liked me. All he had was horns and drums, and I was set up over there with my little guitar with no amps or nothing. I would play as loud as I wanted to, and nobody could hear me. Well, it's a bloody merry morning, my baby left without warning. My sister played the piano. She's 2 years older than me, and I always wanted to play something. So my grandmother got the guitar for me, and showed me a couple of chords to start off. And then I got me a book. Next thing you know, I was playing along with sister. Like anything else, you can use the internet for good or ill. You can get out of it what you want to. There's no evil about it. The way I see it, it's a liberation. There's so many things going on in the world, babies dying, mothers crying. How much oil is one human life worth? And whatever happened to peace on earth? I believe in looseness. I'm an old-fashioned joint smoker, you know. The fight to save family farms isn't just about farmers. It's about making sure that there is a safe and healthy food supply for all of us. It's about jobs, from Main Street to Wall Street. It's about a better America. America, to me, is freedom. I think the best exercise that I do is singing for an hour and a half out on the stage, because, yes, I use the lung, the biggest muscle in your body. You could try to live monogamously. Good luck. I don't remember Moses writing, "Thou shalt not kill." Unless you think you have a good reason. Air you breathe is bad for your lungs, so you've got to be careful and don't overdo any bad air. Too much pot, too much anything is not good. Your lung is a piece of flesh, a piece of bone. You can injure it. Nothing lasts forever, but old Fords and a natural stone. Just because she's leaving, don't start believing that your rock and roll days are gone. If you've made your own hell, then only you have the power to escape it. There's a freedom you begin to feel the closer you get to Austin, Texas. How would you like to bite that in the ass, develop lockjaw and be dragged to death? Vaporizers are good for your lungs. Cigarette smoke will kill you. I never heard of anybody dying from marijuana smoke. Vaporizers, I think, are smarter. You'll never get ahead by blaming your problems on other people. I'm drinking doubles now that you're running around single again. I learned some invaluable lessons in Nashville that apply to both farming and show business. Do not corner something you know is meaner than you. Keep skunks of all kinds at a distance. If you forgive your enemies, it messes up their heads. Heard you told him that you'd love him till the end of time. Now that's the same thing that you told me. When I would sell encyclopedias, I would drive down the road looking for a house with a swing set in the back, and I'd say, "Oh, those folks got kids. They need some books." I'd knock on their door and sell them a set of encyclopedias, and those books were from $300 to $600. I'd look around the house, and if there wasn't that much furniture in the house, I felt a little bad about selling a $600 set of books to people who couldn't afford a couch. So I didn't last at that job very long. Oh, I think it's definitely spiritual. All music is. I think it's maybe one of the highest forms of spirituality. Let the jerks of the world serve as the perfect example of what you don't want to be. You'll be a heck of a lot happier, and in the long run, there's a chance that other person at work will end up asking what your secret is. Why are you the happy one? In other words, don't let your thoughts think you. Besides, if you're really gonna get pissed, don't waste it on your family, friends, or co-workers. Save it for something that really matters. When I was growing up, Nashville was the place to go if you had songs to sell and thought you had talent and wanted to tour and be on Grand Ole Opry radio show. It was the big deal back in those days to play the Grand Ole Opry. And you could travel around the world saying, "Hi, I'm Willie from the Grand Ole Opry." There's a lot of money in selling marijuana. If you can do it legally, that's good. Why should all the criminals make the money? This is what people are thinking. If it's happening, if it's going to be legal, let's tax it and regulate it, like we do with everything else, and make some money off this. I think that's one reason why people are talking this a little more seriously. When I left Nashville, I went to Texas because that's where I came from, and because I was playing in Texas a lot in different places. And I saw hippies and rednecks drinking beer together and smoking dope together and having a good time together, and I knew it was possible to get all groups of people together, long hair, short hair, no hair, and music would bring them together. At 82, Nelson, who wrote the song On the Road Again, among 1,000 or more others, is the elder statesman of country music, a steadying and powerful voice in the industry and on environmental issues, and he's still on the road much of the year. The music keeps calling. I'm crazy for trying, crazy for crying, and I'm crazy for loving you. Fortunately, we are not in control. Love is like a dying ember, only memories remain. In church I was told that if I so much as smoked a cigarette or tasted alcohol, I'd be damned in hell for all eternity. It didn't take long for me to start thinking that sounded all wrong. I didn't cotton to the idea that your religion should be flaunted to other people. Your religion is for you, and is best kept close to your heart. When songs fall from the sky, all I can do is catch them before they hit the ground. Gatewood Galbraith was a good friend, and a tireless advocate for the repeal of the ridiculous ban on hemp marijuana. His book, The Last Free Man Standing, says it all. Freedom is control in your own life. I got in at 2 with a 10, and woke up at 10 with a 2. I started learning my lessons in Abbott, Texas, where I was born in 1933. My sister Bobby and I were raised by our grandparents. We never had enough money, and Bobby and I started working at an early age to help the family get by. That hard work included picking cotton. Picking cotton is hard and painful work, and the most lasting lesson I learned in the fields was that I didn't want to spend my life picking cotton. Rather than trying to put an end to Eminem or some other rapper, politicians should think about why they're rapping. It's easier to try to censor some kid who's swearing about poverty than it is to stop the poverty. Indecision may or may not be our biggest problem. On the road again, going places that I've never been. Seeing things that I may never see again, and I can't wait to get on the road again. There are more old drunks than there are old doctors. Little things I should have said and done, I just never took the time. You were always on my mind. You will never find happiness until you stop looking for it. When you put your life in a good place, good things follow. My wife actually got worried about my drinking so much regular milk, so she got me into rice milk and now soy milk, which I greatly enjoy. A soy milk is a fine thing. I don't believe in adhering to any rules I don't support and I didn't vote for. To hell with what people think. Just be who you are and you'll be happy. I was in the Air Force a while and they had what they call policing the area. That's where you looked around and if there's anything wrong here, there, anywhere, you took care of your own area. And I think that's a pretty good thing to go by. If everyone just takes care of their own area, then we won't have any problems. Be here. Be present. Wherever you are, be there. And look around you and see what needs to be changed. If you can be content right now, then you'll always be content, because it's always right now. If you wait for tomorrow to follow your dreams, by the time that you get there they're gone. Be here. Be present. Wherever you are, be there. Be gentle with your words, you can't take them back. The biggest killer on the planet is stress, and I still think the best medicine is and always has been cannabis. God has blessed you richly, so get down on your knees and thank Him. Don't forget the less fortunate, or God will personally kick your ass. I'd love to do it for Him, but I can't be everywhere. There is only one map to the journey of life, and it lives within your heart. If you're not crazy, there's something wrong with you. Willie Nelson. We are the same. There is no difference anywhere in the world. People are people. They laugh, cry, feel, and love, and music seems to be the common denomination that brings us all together. Music cuts through all boundaries and goes right to the soul. As adults, we try to relax from the never-ending quest for reason and order by drinking a little whiskey or smoking whatever works for us. But the wisdom isn't in the whiskey or the smoke. The wisdom is in the moments when the madness slips away and we remember the basics. I think it is just terrible and disgusting how everyone has treated Lance Armstrong, especially after what he achieved, winning 7 Tour de France races while on drugs. When I was on drugs, I couldn't even find my bike. I take it not only a day at a time, but a moment at a time, and keep it at that pace. If you can be happy right now, then you'll always be happy, because it's always in the now.